Good afternoon, everyone. I show it is now 4:01 p.m. on Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. I'd like to call the Board of Public Works and Utilities to order. Let's see, roll call will be our Public Works Director, Jared Holter.
Here.
Finance Director, Sabrina Steger.
Here.
Alder Jurassic.
Present.
Mayor Kim Smith.
Here.
And Alder Diane Wolf is here, and Alder Jim Benash is excused absence this evening. I want to thank everyone for coming this afternoon. I see in the audience we have Kevin Schubert, our city engineer, Dan Wicker, Parks and Rec Director, our police chief, Charles Ashbeck, our IT director, Joe Olinger, Pete Fletty, our fire chief. Thank you, Ashley Kramer, for coming today from Public Works Water. And we have a number of people who are representing in attendance item number 4 for the snowmobile trail. So thank you everyone for coming. Have I met? Oh gosh, I did it again. And also our city administrator, Rick Niemeyer. I think I have everyone.
And then
And
Karen's online.
Who is? Karen Markcourt?
Yep.
With finance. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Item number 2, consideration and action on minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Kim, second by Alder Larry to approve the previous month's meeting. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of said motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Number 3, public input, limited to 3 minutes per individual. If you would like to give public input on any item, whether it be on the agenda or not, you may do so. You need to state your first and last name and your home address, and you have 3 minutes. You just can approach the microphone. So first call for public input. Second call for public input. Third and final call for public input. I'll move on with the printed agenda. A consideration and possible action on the following items under Public Works. Number 4, snowmobile trail for the 2025-2026 season. Jared?
Thank you. In your packet tonight is the map for the snowmobile trail through the city. This has been coming back for many years now for yearly approval. As was stated by some of the members of the Cooley Snowdrifter Snowmobile Club, you know, there hasn't been a lot of snow the last couple of years, but they always have hope. So they do sign the trail and everything. It is a benefit to the city for some of the businesses in the city and everything. And I did check with Chief Ashback, has not had any complaints. So staff is recommending approval for the upcoming winter season.
Thank you so much. Chair will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the snowmobile trail for 25-26 season.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Kim, second by Alder Larry to approve the snowmobile trail for the 25-26 season. Discussion. Mayor Kim.
Under discussion, that's with the understanding that the insurance certificate will be provided.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions and or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you all for coming in. Like I said, if you'd like to stay for about 3 hours tonight, you're more than welcome, but if you'd like to go ahead and have pie, go right ahead. Number 5, well, number 9. I am not going to test my language. Could you assist?
I want to
No.
hear Jared say.
So
these
number
words.
5A, PFAS testing. Maybe Jared can help us out, or Kevin, with that pronunciation.
Fluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances.
Good, thank you. So who
So-
would like to start?
In your,
Thank you
also,
with
in your pack tonight, we brought this forward, with a variety of data, variety of items. This well number 9, we've been testing, all of our wells actually since 2021. We're voluntary testing then. Now the DNR has, required the testing. In page 4, you can see a graph that Ashley Kramer, our water quality specialist, who I have with us tonight to assist in answering any questions. She has put a graph together of our data at the well. And if you look at the graph on page 4, you can see there's a variety of compounds that we are testing for. There's actually, of these 6, I'm going to get this wrong, there's like 6,500, Ashley, I'd say, that there's like 6,500 different PFAS compounds, and we're only testing for 6. But that is what is going right now. With our data, you can see there, the one that is, we're mainly looking at is the PFOA, the maximum contaminant level that is going to be set, proposed by the EPA and is going through rule process right now at the Wisconsin DNR is at 4 nanograms per liter, which is that number that's below the blue on top of the graph. So you can see in 2021, we knew we were close to that number, but back in 2021, the MCL was 70, and then they said it was going to go down to 20, and now it's going to go down to 4. So you can see that blue bar. If we concentrate on that blue bar as we go through 2023, it went down to 1.6. But then over the last, we've been testing every quarter since May of 24, and you can see we're at 4.2, 6.1, 5.2, 3.9, 4.6. So basically, after looking at this data and how it's trending, it looks like we are going to be over the 4 nanograms per liter with our well. So with this, the enforcement of this rule is projected, it's going to be in 2029, 2027, we'll have to start noticing it if we're over 4 nanograms per liter in our CCR and things. And then 2029, we'll have to have it where we have to meet the MCL, the maximum contaminant level, or we cannot use that well. One of the charts I put in here tonight on page 11 shows this, just a map of the city, and it shows 4 blue well houses on it. And you can see that we have 3 wells that are kind of on what I call the north end of the city, and well number 9 on the south end of the city. We have no wells on the eastern State Trunk Highway 16 Interstate 90 area. And so we are trying to move our water when it's pumped in our system with a variety of reservoirs out to the eastern part of the city. And with that distance, we have other problems with things because of our water age. Our water age does go up. So well number 9 is a very important well in our system because we use that well very heavily. We try and push water to the eastern part of the system so our water age does not stay up. So one of the first things that comes up is with any sort of discussion, the first thing is, well, do we not use the well? Do we get rid of the well? Do we look for a new location for a well? And I believe that with that well where it is, we have to have a well on that side of the city. We invested in 2015 for iron and manganese treatment with a pressure filter at that well. If we go anywhere further east, we'll need that pressure filter. We'll need a treatment for iron and manganese again. So in my mind, the best option is to keep that well. So that's just a background of what the first thing we looked at was, are there other options besides installing treatment at this well? We've got other wells that are also in your packet tonight. The numbers are relatively low at the other wells. We do have some PFOA at well number 7, which is in the Quincy Street Park, but it's been trending, below the MCL. So that's something we'll have to keep track of. But at this time, we don't believe that well is moving like well number 9 is. So this led us into a variety of discussions. We attend educational events, and this has been a hot topic in a lot of our educational events in the last 2 years, 3 years, and also looking at what to do with funding for this treatment if we would go this way. So I guess just on the testing for the first part, Ashley, is there anything you'd like to add on the testing side, or is there any highlights we'd like to hit, or anything you'd? Yeah.
Just state your first and last name, please.
Is the green button on? There you go.
Can you hear me now? A little better?
Don't be shy.
There
Yeah.
we go. Ashley Kramer, Water Quality Lab Supervisor. So utilizing well dyed is very important for our water system, like he was saying, pushing out to the east side. And with the testing, I too want to say that, seasonally, it's gonna stay the same. If we're pumping lower in the winter, we're still gonna get those same numbers. For testing, pumping in the spring or summer, it's staying the same. So just wanted to highlight that. Yeah. Using the well is important. Mhm.
Any questions of Ashley? Alder Larry?
Thank you, Chair. What is the cause of this contamination?
Could be a variety of things. There's we've got what's called an unconfined aquifer. So the beauty of it is we can pump a lot of water in a short amount of time. But the bad part is contaminants move long distances. City of La Crosse had 3 wells at the airport, and those wells have been shut down and are abandoned because years ago they used to treat or they used to have practice burns at the airport and use the airport foam. Airport foam is one of the leading sources of PFAS that's out there, but we can't trace it back directly to any one cause. There's not like there's a manufacturing plant or something that's close enough where we can say they did it, anything like that. So we did apply for, it's been on the agenda over the last couple of years. We did apply for the class action suit with 3M and DuPont and the other manufacturers, and we have actually started receiving some of those funds. There's a second round that we will submit for and a third round actually that we will also submit for. So, but it will not be, I'll get into some numbers in a minute of how this might work, but those funds will not cover what we need done.
Okay, well 9, the depth of well 9, is that similar to the other 3 wells?
All of our wells are in that unconfined aquifer. We're in the sand alluvial wash plain of the Mississippi River. So basically our wells are about 150 feet deep. We have a screen between 110 feet and 150 that we're drawing our water from.
So it wouldn't be an area of drilling deeper to get cleaner water, or?
We could, the town of Campbell is looking at that as an option, but then you're into radium. So you've got other contaminants. You're trading one for another. Plus you've got a well that's going to be about 1,000 feet deep. I think you're about 1,000 feet deep over there.
Oh.
So, and you can't, and it's not the unconfined aquifer. Now you're trying to find a fissure and you're trying to, so you can't, it's harder to pump the higher volumes also.
Okay, so is there a possibility of the aquifer then transferring the contaminants to the other 3 wells?
So the one good thing we have is in the modeling, we do have a wellhead protection plan that we've had computer modeling done for areas around the wells. We can kind of see where our source water is in a general term coming from. And the good thing we have with the Mississippi River, and especially the lock and dam out here, is it causes head pressure on the aquifer. So our water tends to run from north to south. So the good thing is well number 9 is downstream of the other 3 wells. So I think I can't say it's never going to happen, but I do believe looking at the data, we've only got 4 years of data, but looking at the data, I think we're in a good spot with the other 3 wells as of now.
So by adding additional filtering to the system, would that change anything, or?
Well, so basically our choices are abandon that well, put a new well in somewhere else, and we might be into the PFAS, and we're definitely going to be in the iron and manganese if we go eastern part of the city. So this would, we'd be looking at trying to treat the water for the PFAS compounds and then removing them. So that's where, if we wanted to do that at well number 9, it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 to $7 million to put that treatment system in, because you're going to add onto the building. You're going to have to do a variety of things to do that. And you're probably going to have, if we look at granular activated carbon, which is the most common treatment method right now, you're probably looking at 4 to 6 cylinders that are 12 foot in diameter and probably 30 foot tall. to run the water through, give or take.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome.
That kind of leads me into the next part of it, but if anybody's got any more questions. So we're gonna go into B, so this is the reason so the original plan was, when we've been talking about this, I've been, discuss it quite often with Ashley when we're at the Public Works facility and we're doing the testing, and every time we get the test results back, we're hoping to get test results that are lower, obviously, trying to find a trend that we could bank on. What we haven't seen that with the testing we've gotten in the last year, including the last testing we received in August. So the plan was we had in the capital improvements budget, we got $50,000 for 2026 to do some pilot testing. So that 26 number was figuring we would do pilot testing in 26. We would design a treatment system in 27 and then hopefully construct it in 28, 29, somewhere in that neighborhood. Part of what has happened with the funding mechanisms that are out there is the bill law, the bipartisan infrastructure law, had funding that the state directed to emerging contaminants, and that funding is going to run out. So Kevin can go through probably his memo that's in the packet. If you looked at that, it's got a timeline of how we could utilize some of that funding. So if we chose to put the intent to apply in by the end of October, then we would, as the memo, it has an outline to it, we could apply for a loan in June, by the end of June in 2026. This will probably be the last round of possible funding, grant funding toward emerging contaminants, of which the PFAS is the major one. They actually did add iron and manganese now, but it's mainly for PFAS. So if we want to try to get on that funding list, and in the last 2 years, they have not given out all of the emerging contaminant money. So it's been a good thing. So I think we've got a very good chance of getting that funding. On the safe drinking water loan, it's a separate scoring system, and they do give principal forgiveness for up to 50% of a project up to $3.5 million. So if the project did come in at 6 million, we could possibly give principal forgiveness, which is a grant, for up to 3 million of that, which is a huge number. With that, the scenario then would, as outlined in the memo, we've got to have the fast track to get plans done by the end of June. We've been in discussions with the DNR and that would lead us into the third C, engineering services. If we chose to try and meet the timeline, which we've talked to professionals and we think we can meet the timeline, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be labor intensive to meet the timeline, but we think we could get a consultant to have a design done for us by that June 30th deadline to meet the application deadline. And then you'd have to close on the loan by the following April of 27. So those are all the dates that are in the memo that Kevin produced. That's in the packet. The city of Onalaska has ever gotten any principal forgiveness. Our median household income is too high. We just never get any principal forgiveness. This is probably the last shot at the emerging contaminants and getting that principal forgiveness. So basically what we are looking for tonight is explaining our results, explaining what we feel our results are leading us to, explaining the opportunities that are in front of us as far as the principal forgiveness for safe drinking water loan, and then trying to show what we have if we want to try and meet that timeline. And then if we did, we would probably come back in November with a RFP response from consultants that would then design a treatment facility for the well. But that treatment, that funding or that design is probably going to be in the range of $200,000 to $400,000 to design that well. So we do have some funds in the capital improvements fund balance for water that could pay for part of it. And then we also, depending on how the capital improvements budget goes tonight, we did have in the mortgage revenue bond $200,000 to help pay for part of the design. So it would be, without knowing what the consultants come back with, I don't have a good number right now to tell you, but it's going to be quite a bit. Kevin's been doing a lot of research, a lot of work on this, trying to make sure we got our ducks in a row. Been doing stuff. Anything you want to add, Kevin, on your memo for the timeline? I think there's more we could talk about that, or some of the things if you have anything to add.
Probably not a lot, just, what Jared had said, right? We're to a point now where this issue isn't gonna go away, right? We're fairly confident that we're gonna have PFAS, and when the new rules come into effect in a couple of years, we're either gonna have to treat that well, or like Jared said, turn it off. So in doing some research on the PFAS issue and just some of the funding mechanisms that are currently available for the city, right? This is, would be an expedited project, but we do feel we can make all the timelines work, right? As Jared said, right, with the current funding, there is an opportunity for significant savings when you talk about a project of this cost, right? Multiple millions of dollars for that. So that's why we decided to, and Jared and I have been talking about this for probably 6 weeks. If we could even do it right, we got to the point where we do believe, A, it's potentially a need, right? And then B, that it can be done in the timeline I have illustrated here in the memo. So we do understand it is, high dollar amount. It's something that is coming on fairly quickly for that. But we do feel that there is a need here for the operating system for the water utility, and something that we can meet in the timeline given.
Sabrina?
Thank you. So my question is, when would we find out if we got the grant? Because there's a fall 2026 when we would get awarded the grant, but would we find out, when would we find out when we do the intent to apply for financial assistance, will they let us know if we qualify? Will they let us know if we will receive any principal forgiveness? Just kind of curious about those.
So when we go to apply, if we would move forward and apply for the intent to apply, that's just almost a placeholder, right? You're telling the DNR, right, that we're thinking about a project. There is no commitment, right? It's just trying to see where you are and have communities do that. Per the memo there in the spring of 26, the DNR will issue their project priority list. So that would be a good indicator, how many projects were moved through. And by that time, they would have the ability to know what kind of funding would be there for that, for the timetable. So, there is a little issue where we're going to have to do the intent to apply, right? And then potentially sign a contract for design services, right? For the treatment of the well, without guaranteeing that we're going to get, the full amount, potentially other communities are having these same conversations. But I think at that point, right, where we have PFAS, right, we don't get it, you come back to the drafting board, but we would have the design for the infrastructure that's going to be needed either way. If we do get this funding, or if there's a different mechanism in the future we have to use, I think at this point, we're fairly comfortable that we have PFAS at well number 9, and it's going to have to be an issue we're going to have to deal with, right? So we're going to need to do some sort of design or infrastructure at that well. So there would be some initial costs of, and entering into the design services with that, with not a full guarantee, right? That we're going to get a 50-50 match, or there's going to be plenty for all the communities that are going to be in there. But at least in my head, I have some assurance that, the design are going to be needed in the future, right? If it's something, that's next year, or, the year after that, that's something that, we're going to need, right? That well's going to need treatment. And I think as Jared illustrated, finding another source and costs and treatment for that, right? Sort of maintain what you have philosophy that we talk about here when we get into capital improvements, is where that, but it would be, now we would know, prior to the final deadline for when we have to submit this for the DNR to get on the funding list for, I think it's the 27 federal fiscal year at the end of June, we would know that, right? So before we, we could say, hey, we're not gonna get any funding, we're not gonna maybe plow ahead if it's all the city to do it, or we're gonna, relook at some of those funding options. So, but we would have a pretty good idea next spring before there's any official deadline, for submittal to the DNR to keep the project, what we would anticipate getting.
Kind of a follow-up, if you don't mind, Chair. So how long would the design work be valid for the project? Like if it did get pushed and we can't do it till 2029, would we have to hire another consultant to take a look at the situation and
No,
redesign or?
we would basically have the design on the shelf, right?
Okay.
They would have, right, our contaminant level isn't changing drastically, right? We would potentially revisit maybe the design just to make sure, in case we see the numbers go up a little bit, but that design should be valid, right, for anything moving forward, of what we're gonna need, if it's next year or if it's a few years down the road, depending on financial impacts and, if there's the additional grant funding for the emerging contaminants next year.
If the design waited 2 years, I think there'd be a slight cost because they'd have to make sure they're still meeting all the codes. And if the code changes, like instead of 3 feet between some chemical, you need 6 feet now, they'd have to change it for that. But
Right.
overall, the design, hopefully whatever treatment option we pick is going to be a steady treatment option. We're not looking to leaning toward granular activated carbon, GAC. Like I said, I think over 80% of the people use that. We're not trying to get something that's kind of on the cusp of being new. So we're kind of going to tried and true methods is what our goal is.
I was just going to say, the only reason I asked all those questions is with doing the mortgage revenue bond. And then if we didn't get the funding, that would be an additional huge cost on the water utility on top of already having to do a rate case for the mortgage revenue bond. I presume this would be an additional case. I think we would work through all of that if applying for the grant, if
Yep.
we received it, but that's just where the finance director's brain's going.
Yeah, I think even however we would do this, the safe drinking water loan is probably the way to do it. And hopefully if we can get the emerging contaminant principal forgiveness, it's still going to have an impact to our water utility ratepayers. There's still going to be an impact. Hopefully we have softened that impact with that. But I think you're right. If for some reason we don't get the emerging contaminant, I really feel strongly that we have a very good opportunity here, or I wouldn't be bringing it forward on the fast track, but I feel our opportunity warrants it. And with that, if the opportunity would not come to fruition, then I would say then we would definitely step back for a year and try and see what we can do, where we can do it, how we fund it, things like that. But as Kevin stated, we're not gonna, we can spend more money on engineering consultants to look at different spots for wells and do us a big report and everything. And I can pretty much, because I've been here and know the history of how we've sited wells here, it's not gonna come up with any answers that are gonna be plausible. We can go up my Woodman's and drill a new well, but we're still gonna have to put the treatment in for iron and manganese. And then if we would hit, assuming we don't find any PFAS over there, the iron and manganese and just the drilling of the new well is probably going to be 8 million anyway, 8 to 10 million. So we've got a huge investment in what we have now because we've already got the filter and everything. So that's my thinking is we stick with where we're at. We filter it. We know we're good.
Thank you for your very good questions. Mayor Kim and then Alder Larry.
I just have a couple of questions. So when did you say the 4 nano?
So that right now, the EPA is saying that in 2027, we will have to notice it. So we'll have to put in our CCR if we're above 4, and the MCL will be enforced in 2029.
Okay.
Now, we did have at the last American Water Works conference, the Wisconsin conference we attended, they did have one of their national people that's in Washington, D.C., and they stated that they are going to hopefully get some sort of an extension 2031 for enforcement. So, but there's no guarantee for that. And or it's one of the things where the MCL is still there. They just don't crack down on people right away. So when I talked about this with Kevin, we can look back at phosphorus rules. Those were ones that
Yeah,
came
that's
about
what
for
I'm
wastewater treatment plants. But that was an environmental issue. This is a public health issue is the way they're framing this. So I think this is going to be a different framework for enforcement than the phosphorus issue. They gave us extra time. They let people have 5 extra years to meet it. It just finally is enforceable now. And the part of the problem right now too is the Wisconsin DNR is in rulemaking right now. It's actually out for public comment. Our water, there's 65 water utilities, of which we're one that we belong to a organization that keeps track of all the rules, and we try and lobby together. So we try to make sure we understand what the rules are going to be. And they just sent us out some paperwork, some correspondence that the DNR is trying to make the fact, because they have to enforce what the federal government has. They're trying to make the rules right now. Well, if the federal government changes their rule, we'll still have the rules, so we'll have to meet it. So that's what they're afraid of, is our state's going to pass something that then is enforceable, even if the federal level changes it. So those are the things that are going on right now. It's fluid. There's a lot going on. Be perfectly honest with you, I wish we were on the 26 pilot and 27 design and 28 into 29 construction, but I think we would, if that list comes out and they don't, the safe drinking water list that comes out in May or April, and they don't have enough products to spend all that money and it disappears, I felt like we would have done a disjustice to not bring this forward.
Okay. And there isn't enough history of this to know if historically the levels start to drop either, because there's not enough data, because it just became measurable.
Yeah, so this is what 2021, if you go back to page 4, we did voluntary testing, we were at 2.43.
Mhm.
And, and then so we went back and did 23 testing and it dropped to 1.6. And I'm like, oh gosh, okay, it made me feel
Mhm.
better.
I
We're
know
good.
that, I remember.
May of 24 is when we started our mandatory testing that the DNR was making us do. And all of a sudden we got a 4.2. And I'm like, oh, this is it's like disheartening. And then we're like, well, let's keep monitoring it, even though we've been monitoring, and Ashley's been doing a great job of doing this. These tests aren't cheap. They're hard to do. You got to have everything clean when you're doing the tests, because you don't want contamination because such small levels. They even say you're not supposed to have perfume on for the day. No deodorant, no perfume. I mean, this is how in the testing is that, whatever. But that's when we said, well, let's keep doing quarterly testing because we need data. We didn't want to rush out and, do a multi-million-dollar project on a whim. But you can see over the last year and a half, I mean, it's just, it goes up and down slightly, but we can't even average under 4 in 4 quarters in a row. So.
Okay, and then just to check to make sure I'm comprehending. So what you're proposing is that right now we commit to the design cost with the idea that we get on that project priority list when it opens here and is published. And then even though we would know if we were prioritized before we had to make any kind of final commitment.
So what I would look at tonight is, and I don't think we need a motion for this, but we are going to put the intent to apply in by the October 31st deadline. We are going to submit an RFP request for proposals, qualifications from a couple engineering consultants on a design with a cost. And our goal is to bring that back to the next Board of Public Works meeting. So we're not committing it. The next meeting, then we would be, and before that meeting, I'd have to sit down with the finance director and make sure we had a game plan on how we would pay for it. And then we would be committing to having that design started literally probably right after the council meeting in November. And we would have to have plans submitted to the DNR by the application deadline of June 30th. Now, those plans would not be final biddable plans. They'd be very close, but they'd be, enough that they can approve them.
Okay, thank you.
Larry?
With all the different committees that you've been attending, training sessions, has there been any talk about increasing funding on this?
No, everybody's, actually funding has been drying up with at the current federal level. There is some state monies out there, but, I don't know when they're gonna get released neither. Ashley, I know you went to a different one that I didn't go to in Madison a couple months ago too. Did you have anything besides that? I mean, everything can change. I mean, if it gets to be enough of a problem, there, it might get more funding, but I'm going for the bird in hand than the bird flying by.
Hopefully with all the write-ups and everything that Campbell had with their problems out there, that I don't know if that'll be activated up again or.
Yeah,
put
well,
in
they're
new wells,
looking
so
at
this changes
they,
everything.
they've already submitted an intent to apply in the last cycle, but they didn't actually go through with the loan process. Because the intent to apply does not commit you to doing anything besides just putting you on the list. And Count of Campbell submitted projects for that intent to apply anywhere from 30 to 40 million to do their water system. Was it 60?
Yeah, last year, the town of Campbell put in 3 different scenarios, and I think it was 60, one was 60, one was 70, and one was 75 million, right? Different thing, they're starting a whole utility over there and a well, so they have extreme costs of that, but no, they put in 3 different ITAs that were on last year's list. They didn't move forward with any of them.
So we don't want to send out the request for proposals to engineering consultants if we at least don't have a concept where, we're at least going to look at them when we bring them back next month, because that's a lot of work for people, a lot of work for us to get the RFP out, answer questions, get people but then ultimately next month will be the tough decision of do we want to move forward? And I would suggest over the next, if we can move forward with the RFP and the intent to apply, then over the next 30 days, if anyone has any specific questions or wants to know more information or anything like that, you can meet with any of us and we can help you through that process. But I know this isn't our normal way of proceeding normally.
So do you want us to just table this until next month or?
No, I'd like to get action on submitting the ITA and getting requests for proposals for engineering work for the well.
I can make a motion that you move forward with putting together a request for proposals for design of the PFAS treatment for well 9
And the ITA.
and the ITA.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Kim, second by Larry, seconded by Alder Larry. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. So that wraps up item 5, correct?
6.
No, what we just finished was number 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so item 6, general engineering services by Short Elliott Hendrickson.
Thanks,
This-
Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. This is the general engineering services we usually take over the course of 12 to 24 months to use these up. As it says in the project description, typical uses are traffic engineering, survey work, construction staking, street construction, floodplain work, stormwater work. We've done some when we were in the cemetery submitting permitting for the cemetery. So this is all paid out of project accounts as they come in, and this is pretty typical. This is probably the, I don't know, probably the 7th or 8th one in the last 15 years that we've done. So staff's recommending approval. I'll make a motion to approve the general engineering services for $20,000 for Short Elliott Hendrickson.
Second it.
Motion by Jared, second by Alder Larry to approve engineering services by SEH in the amount not to exceed 20,000. Discussion. Alder Larry?
Yeah, what's the, you got down here 20,000. Have they reached that level before or?
We just closed one out that just went to 15.
Okay.
So we did probably 7 bills. They'll range anywhere from 1,000 to 2,500, depending what services we have done. This last one, we had staking, we had some traffic engineering work, had a variety. It just, stuff comes up that either we can't get to or it's expertise out of our, we're applying, we're applying for a grant for East Avenue and we're looking at putting in a sheet pile retaining wall. So we had their structural engineer give us an estimate on that because we don't do that kind of work. So we wanted to make sure we have enough money in the grant. Just an example.
Thank you.
Let's see, we're under discussion, right?
Yep.
Okay. Any further questions or concerns? If not, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Item number 7, change order number 2 for 2025 Theater Road Improvements Project.
This change order is for the final quantity of asphalt used on the project, and this will be a net increase of 10,407. This will be, is within the budget in the capital improvements and still within the half reimbursement for the project, so.
I move we approve change order 2, the net increase from the previous change order. Wait. Is it the 10?
And yep, 10,000.
$10,407.83.
I'll second.
Motion by Mayor Kim, seconded by Sabrina to approve the change order number 2 in the amount of $10,407.83. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Number 8, 2026 capital improvements budget.
Where were we at from last month, Sabrina?
All right, so one thing, I found a typo in my math. So maybe I should have had the handheld calculator up here. So one of the things that was asked of me from Alder Benash, who couldn't be here tonight, was what was our total that we ended in last time we met. So my typo was on the pavement maintenance. I had only put down 25,000 instead of 250,000. So right now, our total in the green, so the green on your list is $2,774,900. With just a heads up on that, 25,000 wouldn't get Jared and Kevin very much pavement maintenance.
Sidewalk maintenance.
Sorry, sidewalk maintenance.
Can you say that again?
Oh, the 4.
So $2,774,900 is,
Item, is it under Public Works?
oh, the items are correct. I was just, when I was doing my calculating last month.
Okay, gotcha.
So that is, it is correct, the report that's in front of you. And going forward, I will put a total at the bottom because, like Alder Bernash said, he's like, well, I could do the math, but can you tell me what that number is? I was like, yes, I sure can. So going forward, I'll just add a line at the bottom that will say items moved forward, which then will have the total of the green items. Since we're doing it a little different this year with the different reporting and all of that. So that's where we're at in regards to items that are on your list. The only other thing that was noted is for the soccer fields. So item 26-5 for Park and Rec. The 250,000 for the Wellington Green soccer fields, that should not be in the mortgage revenue line. It should be in other sources because that was going to be using park funds. So it doesn't affect any total. It just has to be moved over. So just a heads up on that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So I just want to reiterate or just review then. So then what is the 3 pages that we have? What's 17, 18, and 19 for the 2026 capital improvements projects proposed? In green are the ones that we, I guess the verbiage was that we moved forward to this meeting, so they're still in. Red line was removed last month's meeting, and blue is the 2027 proposed for the capital improvements for the mortgage revenue bonds.
Correct.
And was there another? Oh, and then black, one more color. Black are ones that,
Are still on the list that we have not removed, but have not moved forward with.
and I guess one thing that I just want to note for the record is that just because something has been brought forward, that doesn't mean it's going to stay, or something that was lined out isn't going to be put back in, because I don't think any of us know right now. So
Yep,
I just want to
absolutely.
note that for the record. So
And Sabrina, for the general fund debt, not the mortgage revenue bond, what is our goal in your mind? Sorry to put you on the spot, but there's no sense of.
we got to lead
Um,
with that, right? Really?
Well, I think with knowing, that the mortgage revenue bond, right now, we're sitting at 6,165,000, plus borrowing, an additional, sorry, I said the wrong number. Right now, sitting at 2,912,500, plus then borrowing an additional 4.7 million next year. So that's like 7.6 million, I think Jared and I calculated today is where we're currently at for the mortgage revenue bond. I'd really like to see us stay around 3 million for all other projects. Obviously, that number can go up, that is the will of the council, but just that with borrowing that much, granted, I know that's going to go on the water fund, but it's just a lot to borrow, and we borrowed a lot last year. That's where my stance is at.
So to confirm, the 2.912500, that's the number that you would like to stay no more than 3.
No, the 2.7 that we've identified outside of mortgage revenue project.
Oh, okay.
Because we're approving this mortgage revenue at 7 million. Granted, I know that does affect the water utility. But due to the fact that we borrowed so much last year and then borrowing an additional for the mortgage revenue bond, I know we originally said I for sure would not recommend that we go anywhere over 4. Ideally, we'd be closer to 3. But that's where my stance is at right now.
Thank you. Mayor Kim?
Sabrina, can you say those two, the 2026, and I know we're going to borrow it all at once, but the 2026 and the 2027 mortgage revenue bond values again so that I can write them down? Or if they're here, direct me to where they are.
Yeah, so they are on your sheet, but I did have to make one change. So the mortgage revenue amount for 2026 would be 2.9.
Page is it on?
I'm looking at my spreadsheet, so give me just a second.
Should be page
Yep.
19, but I don't see it on there.
Yep, it's on page 19, but we had to move that 250,000. So that 3,162,500 is actually $250,000 less. So that's the 2,912,500 that I'm referencing.
Oh,
And it would have been-
162,500 is actually 29.
12500.
Thank you. And then the 2027,
That's on page 20.
Mm.
So The mortgage revenue bond piece of that is 4,724,000. And then the amount needed by borrowing for just general fund, or general obligation debt for 2027 would be 653,000 that we're committing for 2027.
I see, because it doesn't, I got you. Okay.
Yep.
Hmm.
Because it doesn't qualify. Okay.
One thing to note is there is a mortgage revenue bond coming off the books in 2027. It will only, I think that bond issuance was between 4 and 5 million, so it's not as much because just the cost of things over the last 20 years, but we will be seeing some reduction there in another year, so. And just to confirm, just so everybody just, once again, state part of this is any debt for the water, sewer, and stormwater utilities, whether it's however we borrow it, is paid by the users. So when you receive your utility bill, the water portion or sanitary sewer or stormwater would be paying those debt service payments, not the general taxes, not the tax levy. Just making sure we
Yep.
consistently,
And that's where the 2.74900, that would be going on to the tax levy right now. Well, not that full amount, but amortized over 15 years bonding for that.
the only project that for the mortgage revenue bond ones you have listed though, Sabrina, is Sixth Avenue Public Works 26-7 has not been put into any year. I think all the rest of the water and sewer projects are green other than that one, correct? On your spreadsheet?
Or the reconstruct, the PW 26-7 you're referring to?
Yes, Sixth Avenue North.
And I'm sorry, and what were you saying?
It's not, it's still black, so it hasn't been put into that number yet. I don't think we can do the $552,000 general fund portion of that project in 26. So my recommendation would be to move it to the 27 list.
For the, you mean to page 20?
Correct, the page 20 list. So it would become a blue item on your page 18 that you have tonight. Some of those ones in blue have been moved to 27.
Okay, are you making that a motion?
I will make that in the form of a motion.
Second that.
Motion by Jared, second by Mayor Kim to move under Public Works Sixth Avenue North Reconstruction, project number PW 26-7, to move that item off the 2026 capital improvement projects proposed and move it on to page 20, which is the 2027 capital improvement projects proposed, which is the mortgage revenue bond. Did I say that right? Okay.
Yep.
Just helps to reiterate in my head what we're doing. Discussion. A quick question I have for you, Jared. Remind me again, Sixth Avenue North reconstruction.
Sixth Avenue will be from Locust Street up to Pearl Street, replacement of the water main. Also, it would be the sanitary sewer is about 40 years old, so we're going to leave that. Put some new storm sewer in that section, all new road base, all new street. We would also include paving up to Quincy Street and also paving Bluebird Court. It's kind of the last street that has been paved in that general area.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion, Mayor Kemp?
But I think it would be partially funded through the mortgage revenue bond, but the remainder would have to be through the 2027 levy. Just so there's not a misunderstanding, right?
Correct.
Any other questions, concerns regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Jared, I have a quick question on page 20, just to get my head straight on this. For that we're looking at for mortgage revenue bonds, I asked you recently, I just want to confirm. So we're looking at Third Avenue North still?
Microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hello. So regarding on page 20, the 2027 proposed capital improvements for the mortgage revenue bonds, so Third Avenue North, that is the bulb of Third Avenue North, the.
The long stretch, and then Poplar Street runs east-west. So those two would be a companion projects.
Okay. Remind me, you and I talked about this in the last month or so. We had two gentlemen come in and talk about Monroe Street. Where are we at with that?
Not on the list.
Not on the list.
I'd have to look at the 2028, I think, is when we've got that on there. This would be 26 and 27 for the mortgage revenue bond.
So possibly 2028.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what year it's in the 5-year. It's in the 5-year capital improvement plan.
And then there's the stretch that's at the intersection of Wall Street and 10th Avenue North.
The,
What is it? What do you call that project?
there's in your list under page 18, we have the
Pearson.
Pearson 7th, which is Public Works 26-4, and then the Wall Street paving 26-3.
Mhm.
That would be companion projects once again, and we would replace utilities on 2 blocks of Pierce, 2 blocks of 7th, and then also do some minor utility modifications along the paving of Well Street from Oak Avenue North to 11th Court, I believe it is. 10th Court, 10th place. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Mayor Kim.
I was wondering, Jared, if the well number 9 PFAS treatment for 50,000 that's on here, is that helpful to move that forward to help support this RP?
I'm got a couple
Thing.
projects I want to, well,
Okay.
we can start with that one. So actually, why don't we start at the top? If
Okay.
that's
That'd
okay.
be great.
Is that okay?
Yeah, whatever you were.
So under Public Works, we've got the State Trunk Highway 16 water main crossing. I make a motion that we put that into the budget for 400,000 under the water utility.
I'm sorry, I'm already off. Where are you at?
Page 18, second project down in Public Works 25-13.
The water main crossing.
Yep.
Okay. And you're.
I'm making a motion to put it in for 26.
26. In other words,
Second,
so a motion by Jared, second by Mayor Kim, to move into the green to approve going forward the State Highway 16 water main crossing, PW 25-13. Discussion.
So this is the companion project for the crossing that has been done work this year. Once we got into the project, there's rock under 16, so we've got to do a jack and bore project. This has to be done in order to get the water over to the development that's happening in the Nikolai property.
Okay.
This will also be part of the mortgage revenue bond.
So it's not for 26, it's for 27?
No, it's 26.
I thought the mortgage revenue bonds was just
It's for 26, and all those water, sewer, and stormwater projects for 26 and 27 will be
Okay.
funded utilizing the mortgage revenue bond.
Thank you. Yep, I got it. Any further questions or concerns? Okay, all those in favor of said motion say aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Jared?
Under Sand Lake Street Lighting, the next project down, which is Public Works 25-18A. I'm gonna make a motion to put that into the capital improvements budget, and that's gonna be funded under other sources. It's gonna be part of the TID funding. So the TID in that area.
second,
You basically move that to green, right?
Needs to be moved to other sources. Okay. Was that a motion by Jared, second by Mayor Kim?
yes.
to move Sand Lake Road street lighting, PW 25-18A for 300,000.
TID 6.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, TID 6.
You agree with
Uh,
that, Sabrina?
Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously.
TID number 6, Regional Storm Sewer, US 53 Sand Lake Road, Public Works Project 25-18D. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the 125,000 once again for the storm sewer design paid out of TID 6.
Second.
Motion by Jared, second by Mayor Kim to move PW 25-18, the TID 6 Regional Storm Sewer Project in the green. Discussion. Sabrina?
Thank you. Jared, that one was already budgeted, right? Or do we, because we put that one in other sources?
Yeah, but it didn't have a green mark.
Okay, so the 300,000 needs to be moved to other sources.
Correct. The 300,000 needs to be moved to other sources and the 125 can stay in other sources.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously.
If you go down to Public Works, the very second to last one, well, number 9, PFAS treatment, Public Works 26-21. Make a motion to, that the $50,000 is part of the capital improvements budget.
Second.
Motion by Jared, second by Mayor Kim to approve well number 9 PFAS treatment in the amount of $50,000. Discussion.
Is that enough?
We've got actually 150 in the 27. So combined with that, if we make a motion to include the 27 projects, we'd have 200,000. So, we have some monies left in the capital improvements fund project balance that we could utilize. I don't know where the project number is going to come in.
Okay.
Any other questions and or concerns? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously.
On the bottom of the page, the SCADA upgrades would also be water, sewer, and storm sewer as part of the mortgage revenue bond. I'll make a motion that we include the SCADA upgrades in the 26 capital improvement budget. Public Works 26-22.
Chair will entertain a second.
A second.
Motion by Jared, second by Alder Larry to move SCADA upgrades PW 26-22 in the amount of $250,000 to be placed in the 2026 capital improvement budget. Discussion. Jared?
So this project would actually be replacement of a variety of PLCs in the SCADA system. This is the remote system that controls all 27 remote sites. We have been investing in this pretty much every year on and off for multiple years. We actually budgeted the design for this through the operating budget in 25. So the design will be done and ready for construction in 26.
I think we originally approved we started with about 2005, I think.
The original system's from 2005.
Yeah.
Yes.
Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Sabrina, do you want should we have a motion for 27?
For 2027 items?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I have a question, Chair, if you're good with that. There's additional items in it 2026 that I don't think that would be for the mortgage revenue bond. I'm looking at item 26-16.
Well,
And item 26-8 and 9. If it's your intent to get all of those moved forward, would we need a motion for those as well?
I didn't follow a thing you said because it's hard for me to hear.
No, I'm sorry.
This is-
There's just some additional items that I think if the intent is to move them forward in mortgage revenue, that we would do them either right now if we're 2026, or we would move them to the 2027 list for the mortgage revenue bond. And those are items 26-8, 26-9, and 26-16.
I think with the, I'm sorry.
I'm still trying to find 2616.
It's on page 18, about 7 up from the bottom, in
Thank you.
between the red and the blue there, South Kinney storm sewer repair.
Jared?
So, just with what's happening with the wall project and everything, I would, make a motion, we move 26-8, 26-9, and the, 26-16 to the 27 capital improvements list. So they would become blue lines and move to 27.
So for clarity, they would be part of the mortgage revenue bond, but for in 2026.
2027, correct.
I'll second that.
Motion by Jared, second by Mayor Kim to move items 26-8, which is the security cameras upgrade for City Hall and PD. 26-9.
No.
No,
No. No, 20, Public Works 26-8, which
Okay,
is the East Main drainage improvements.
It would be really helpful if we were to say title, because we got 3 pages and little tiny print. That's about 6-point font, so. Okay, so 26,
About halfway down in Public Works.
26-8. Oh, the East Main drainage.
East Main, yep. And then the next one is the Beverly Drive storm sewer repairs, which is 26-9.
Okay, so Public Works 26-8, Public Works 26-9, and Public Works 26-16, the South Kinney. So the motion was by Jared. Did Mayor Kim second that?
so I
Is there a
did.
second? Thank you. And that is to move them to the 2027 blue list. Okay. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Yeah, one more, but then after this, I'm gonna have Sabrina give you the number, because she's working on, I think, the number over there. I'd make a motion that the 27 capital improvement projects for water, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer as outlined be put into the mortgage revenue bond,
Where's 27?
page 20.
Do you say that one more time, please?
The projects listed in the 2027 capital improvement project list on page 20, plus the ones we've moved, the water, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer funding be included in the mortgage revenue bond.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Motion by Jared, second by Mayor Kim. I understand it, but I'm not going to repeat it. We're going to look to Jared to repeat that, but I got that. Discussion. Mayor Kim.
Sabrina, I know you're working feverishly over there trying to move a couple around, but I guess I can go over a little bit this with the mortgage revenue bond. I believe we will be, as you know, the last 2 years, we have not performed a utility project. We have not done any main replacements. We have really not done anything on the utility side. These are supported by the utility rates. as I always state, we have just round numbers. We have 100 miles of water main. We should be doing a mile a year. We have not been doing, I think in the last 6 years, we've done 2.5 miles. So we're, we are in a good spot because a lot of our infrastructure is newer, but we want to keep up on at least getting the older items taken care of. That's kind of where we're at with the mortgage revenue bond piece. So, and I think you're going to be right in that $8 million range with the mortgage revenue bond once she gets all the numbers, 8.5. So,
Do I hear 9? Oh,
Sorry, just another minute. I feel like I need some like Jeopardy music or something playing. Come on, Rick, where you at? All right, so if we move those projects out of 2026 and move them to 2027, again, the items that were moved tonight and then items that were moved at the last meeting, we would have on the books for the mortgage revenue total for 2026 would be 1,805,000. And then for 2027 would be 5,669,500, which again in total is 7,474,500. And as Brick was asking me a question earlier, so one of the things he asked is like with the mortgage revenue bonds, just so everyone's aware, we borrow that 7.4 or 7. It'll be more than that because of the bonding costs, but we'll borrow that in 2026 for both years. So just a heads up on that. So like we can't really cut it in half. We're cutting it in half for purposes of like, we can split out the general fund portion, which is going to be 1.2 million with moving the 6th Avenue project for 2027 is what we would use for the street portion of the mortgage revenue bond projects. But we would be borrowing that full amount in 2026. So just so we're all on the same page there.
and part of that's due to the mortgage revenue trying to get multiple years of projects together when you're borrowing against the utility.
Right. And that's been used here at the city multiple times in the past, that you get a good group of projects that the council feels very strongly or projects that really need to be done together and group them together. So then you do a bigger borrowing.
Thank you. If I remember correctly, we have a motion on the floor.
Correct.
Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Anything left?
We're back to the 2,774,900 and where you want to go from there.
Steve Knott, can I speak, please?
So Sabrina, just confirm that I've got my notes right here. So, what was currently will be put on the tax levy will be the 2.774900, and you were at a max 3 million, correct? The preference. Okay, thank you. So if I understand this correctly, then we're looking at about $226,000 of remaining items if we choose.
Yeah.
I thought I'd throw that, if we choose to. Not that there isn't need, but yeah, if we choose to. So
Is Alder not trying to speak online?
Is he online?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello?
Oh,
I can.
Can kind of hear you.
We can hear you, Alder, not if you can speak up maybe a little
Okay.
bit.
Yeah, sure. I am wondering if this might be the year we take a look at that chiller. It's a very high dollar item, but next year we have a fire truck coming in. I mean, we're gonna have other really high dollar items. So just something I would like you to consider.
I think we have to let Dan's going to comment on that maybe.
So, yeah, Steve, we have been in contact with an engineering company that specifically works on chiller systems. They were looking at, the options of hooking in. They have not given us an answer yet to say if they can hook into our current system or if we need to get a whole separate chiller system for the back arena. So we've been working with them. We've exchanged a few phone calls, discussed a few items, but they're still in the process of reviewing our plans as they did all of the work on our chiller in the front to see what their best approach would be moving forward. So I don't have an answer right now for you regarding that item.
Thank you, Dan. And please note for the transcription purposes that Alder Knott is online at this time. Thank you for joining us, Stephen. So. Thoughts? I'm just looking at the list as what is left. that. Anyone thinks that something needs to have attention?
I guess when I look at the list, couple things that come out to me are, and these are all, I'm just throwing things out, are elevator in City Hall. That's one that, is an ADA thing. We've been getting people trapped in the elevator every once in a while. That's one that sticks out at me. The fire department command car 2 is a 2008. I know we had that on there a couple years ago and kind of pushed it off. So that vehicle is getting to be almost 20 years old. We really don't have any paving projects on here under Public Works. We've got Ironwood and Cooley Court that's been on there a couple years in a row that has not gotten funded for paving projects. I guess those are the ones that bounce out at me as far as. And I agree that the chiller is one that's got to get broached at some point, but I'm hopeful Dan can be creative in finding a way to maybe find us a solution that's more cost efficient.
Sabrina.
Thank you. Dan, do you have any idea if we'll have any additional information when we meet next regarding the chiller?
Yes, I would assume that. Scott is hoping to get back to me within the next couple of weeks. They just are trying to finish up a few projects and diving in. So my hope is within the next 2 weeks, we would have something to bring forward with some different options that they could provide us.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. The only thing that I'd say is we got at the end of the night would be our task today would be to make a motion to approve the capital improvement budget to go to public hearing at the November Board of Public Works meeting if we so choose, unless you want to delay that till December. So, we could put a number in, like a placeholder number of something, but I think if you're going to send it to public hearing, you'd really need to put that project into your list. And then if nothing else, you would take it out at the public hearing. I think that's the more probably conservative approach on the public meeting hearing process.
Mayor Campbell.
Dan, I'm thinking about the elevator, and I'm wondering if there's lead time for the parts, like say, because we always, if there's an emergency, we'll fix the elevator. We have cash reserves, but is there lead time on that? Is that something where we need to be like forward thinking?
I don't know what the lead times are. You know, we did get quotes from two different companies to provide us this service. We did not engage in the conversation to say, if we move forward, what's the time frame of getting this you know, getting the product in? So I don't have an answer for that.
Two different projects, is the 300,000 within it?
For the elevator project,
Right.
yes, we're very confident based on the quotes that we received that we can get that job done for that amount.
I would say, looking at the quotes and the equipment that is needed, you need a new power supply, converter, different equipment. That's probably 6-month lead time equipment, I would say. So if it totally takes a turn for the worse, the problem is going to be is we could spend 50,000 on a temporary fix while we're waiting for the 300,000 to come. Because we can't not have an elevator for the second floor of City Hall just for ADA purposes. It's one thing to put the card on the it's out of service for a day or two, but if it's going to be you can't be out of service for 6 months while we're waiting for parts. That's the only reason it kind of rose a little bit on my list, is I think we've had it on there a year or two.
Yeah.
It's just you know, and we go through this every year. Every project has its place, you know. But
Well, we do with the chiller as well. And we did with the city hall compressor, and look what happened there.
you know,
If I could ask Dan Wick, so I'm looking at Parks and Recreation. Are we still, the ones that were approved for 2025, are those the ones that are going to be installed like next spring? I can't remember what that story is.
So you're asking the playgrounds that were approved in 25, they will be installed in the spring of 26. That is correct.
Okay. So, but we have not approved anything as far as the ones that are on the list. for
Correct.
Park and
There
Rec.
is nothing in budgeted for playgrounds in the 2026 CIP.
I mean, I guess my concern is going back to when they were all pretty much put in a certain period of time and
So with this, initially, when we first put our plan together for playground replacement, we had community park going in 25. And then but when the Lions Club took that project on, we revised our schedule. So the two playgrounds of Glen Fox and Elmwood initially were planned to be done in 26. We moved them up when we removed the community park project out.
okay.
So now with the Lions Club project coming, that project being installed, the playground is open. We are actually able to get, you know, these projects done kind of in the same, you know, year that we were planning.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily put us behind, but you know, we're not gonna catch up, but we can continue to have it, you know, going forward.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Jared?
The one other one, I guess, when I look at the list, and it's been on here since 2008, and maybe the fire chief can give his, you know, had his study done and everything, and then purchase of land for the second fire station. I know it's, I'm sure, near and dear to the fire department's heart, so I think we should give him an opportunity to give us his what he found with his study, you know. I mean, I think it's probably a bigger issue than today, but I feel it should have some say in the.
Chief?
Yeah, thank you. I spoke on this last month too. I mean, from what I understand, it's been around for about 20 years. We've been talking about the possibility of a second fire station. The study we did last year cost us $32,000 to do that study. You'd hate to do a study and not do something. The recommendations coming forward from that study were more personnel, a second and possibly a third fire station down the line. Certainly a second fire station to the east or to the north. Both areas our response times are getting extremely extended out that way. And as we get busier and busier, we're up to 2,500 calls per year now. Those response times just extend out because we don't have the personnel to respond to there. So naturally, we would want to build a second fire station, again, to the east or to the north. Originally, the plan was to build a new headquarters either to the east, was where we're leaning. However, with land being hard to come by to the east, certainly we do need something to the north. So we could look north, possibly not be in that $1 million range. We know to the east land is very expensive out that way. Not that it's not expensive to the north, but we could start looking to the north and build a satellite station up there. I would think our headquarters would still want to be towards the east. Again, certainly the study points all this out, as well as the personnel issues we're having right now with our response times and yeah, it's all kind of laid out in the study. So it's got to happen at some point. Not sure when that's going to happen, but certainly something we need to do.
Thank you, Chief. Could we take approximately a 7-minute break till about 5:35? Would that be okay?
You're the chair.
Well, should be a consensus. So if we could just take a quick break and have everyone back at 5:35? Thank you.